Okay, so I have compiled a tier list of the Battlin Boxer cards that currently exist in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and ranked them compared to the other Battlin Boxer cards. So this is not a general tier list, this is just within the archetype itself. And so we're going to review them, and then in the second part of the video, I am going to give my suggestions as to what the archetype needs in order to be better. So, in the A tier, we have Battlin Boxer Headgeared is a Foolish Burial on normal summon. Battlin Boxer Lead Yoke, it's a rank 4, and it starts out with 2200, but anytime it would be destroyed, you can detach a material instead, and every time a material is detached, it gains 800 attack. So it can boost itself up to 3800 attack when both of its materials have been sent to the graveyard. So it's actually pretty good. It's a really good play to make on your first turn, especially if you're going first. So yeah, I put in the A tier just for that reason. Battlin Boxer Switch Hitter. When it's normal summon, you can revive a Battlin Boxer from your graveyard. Great for making the aforementioned Lead Yoke. Counter Punch is actually pretty unique. It's a level 3 Battlin Boxer, but you can banish it from your hand or graveyard to give a Battlin Boxer 1000 attack. You can do it during your turn, when your opponent attacks you, or even if you're attacking directly. So yeah, it's actually pretty good and pretty versatile since it can be banished from hand or grave. So it has actually pretty decent synergy with Headgear. Next is number 79, Battlin Boxer Nova Kaiser. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see this one summoned in the anime because it's actually my favorite one. But its effect is actually pretty good too. So it starts out with 2300 attack and just takes 2 level 4 Battlin Boxer monsters. But it gains 100 attack for every Xyz material attached to it. And it actually lets you attach Xyz materials from your hand or graveyard to it once per turn. So, especially if you somehow make it to where your opponent can't attack you, or if they just choose not to, if they don't have anything that can match this thing's strength, then you can actually get a lot of materials on it. And then, if it gets destroyed, you can revive Battlin Boxer monsters from your graveyard equal to the number of Xyz materials it has. So, really great setup if it gets destroyed. So, yeah, I put in the A tier for that reason. Moving on to B tier, we have one of 2 cards that actually don't have Battlin Boxer in their name, but they have it in their card text. So the first one is Jolt Counter. It is a counter trap. It's basically a solemn judgment for Battlin Boxers. It can negate a spell, trap, or monster effect while you control a Battlin Boxer monster, but the only drawback, the reason it's not in the A tier, is because it only counts if it's in the battle phase. You can only negate effects in the battle phase. But it's still a pretty decent card, so yeah, I put it in B tier for that reason. Next is number C105, Battlin Boxer Comet Cestus. So, when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can burn them for half of that monster's original attack. And then if it has the regular 105 as a material, you can detach a material to destroy a monster and burn for its attack also. So it's pretty decent, but it is fairly difficult to get out. So just kind of a spoiler, one of the cards that I'm going to get for the archetype is it has an effect where it lets you stack Rank Up Magic, the 7th one, on the top of your deck. So it's basically very similar to what Sharks got in Eternity Code. I'm giving this archetype the Shark treatment. So, but yeah, just on its own, I would put it on the higher end of B tier. Next is Battlin Boxer Shadow. So you can detach a material from an Xyz monster you control to special summon it. So again, just more synergy with Lead Yoke, but at the same time, you have to have an Xyz monster on the field to get the summon. So it's just like it's all right. It's all right, but it could be better. Next is Battlin Boxer Big Bandage. So once per turn, it can't be destroyed by battle. And I don't know if you can see it because the picture might be a little blurry, but it's actually a level 2. But once per turn, you can target a banished Battlin Boxer monster or one that's in your graveyard, and then all monsters you control become that level. So this helps you to go into either rank 3 or 4 plays, whichever you desire. And so it's actually fairly decent. Next is Battlin Boxer Sparer. Now, I put this in B tier because it's a free special summon from your hand as long as you control another Battlin Boxer monster. But it has a huge drawback of giving up your battle phase. So I put in B tier for that reason. Although you can summon it in main phase 2. You can do that, but not being able to do it in main phase 1 just kind of makes it a little less good. Battlin Boxer Spirits. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard to revive a Battlin Boxer. So it's not bad, but I think the cost is a little unnecessary. Although it does have potential synergy with Counterpunch, but the odds of you hitting that in a 40 card deck are still pretty low. So I put in B tier for that reason. C tier, you've got Battlin Boxer Veil. Whenever you take battle damage, you can special summon it from your hand and gain life points equal to the damage you took. So, I mean, it's easily negated. It depends on your opponent in order for it to get its effect. So, it's meh. Number 105, Battlin Boxer Star Cestus. This is actually a fairly decent card, but I just feel like its effect, given how many materials you have to summon it, is just a little lackluster. It takes 3 level 4s, and all it does is during the battle phase, when the monster battles, you can detach a material, it negates the opponent's monster's effects, it makes it to where it can't be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes all the battle damage. So, I mean, it's okay, but for 3 level 4s, I feel like the effect could just be better. So that's why I put it in C tier. Battlin Boxer Glassjaw. This is a big boy. He's got 2,000 attack on a level 4, but the problem is, when he's targeted for an attack, he destroys himself. But the only reason he's not in D tier is because when he's destroyed, or rather sent to the graveyard, you know, it could be by his effect or something like Foolish Burial, anything like that, he can get you a different Battlin Boxer monster from your graveyard back to your hand. So, I mean, yeah, it can be useful sometimes, but it's mainly just going to be for Xyz material, and if there's another card that special summons itself, Glassjaw would probably be one of the first ones to go in order to make room for that. And next, going on to D tier. These are the bad cards. So, Battlin Boxer Rabbit Punch. It's a level 3, and when it attacks a defense position monster, it just destroys it without damage calc. That's it. So, yeah, not really that much to look forward to for that one. Next is Rib Gardener. You can banish it from your graveyard in order to target a Battlin Boxer you control and banish it until your next standby phase. Now, the main problem with this is, of course, Battlin Boxers are Xyz-based, meaning that if you banish your Xyz monster to protect it, it's going to lose its materials. So, this one just seems counterintuitive to me. Cheat Commissioner. When it's targeted for an attack, you can detach 2 materials to steal 1 spell from your opponent's hand. This card sucks. I'm sorry. It is so bad. Next, we have the last card that doesn't have Battlin Boxer in the name, and this is called Last Counter. And so, basically what it does is when an attack is declared involving a Battlin Boxer, you can negate the attack and then send the attack target, or send your monster to the graveyard. So, like, if your opponent attacks it, you send the attack target to the graveyard. And then a different Battlin Boxer gains that monster's attack points of the opponent's monster. And then it also forces damage calculation with those, which isn't that bad, but the next part is that it deals you damage equal to the monster's attack that you sent to the graveyard. Or, excuse me, it says, then you take damage equal to the amount of attack gained from this effect. So, yeah, definitely could be a lot better. So, yeah, so that's going to wrap up the tier list, and now we're going to move on to the next part of the video, which is the creation of cards to hopefully help the archetype. Okay, so before we can really fix Battlin Boxers, we need to identify their strengths and weaknesses, so we can then identify what they need. Okay, so for strengths, They're all warriors, so you can use cards like Rhoda and the Warrior Returning Alive to get resources in your hand. The Xyz monsters have pretty decent effects, and they focus on controlling the battle phase. Cards like Counter Punch to boost attack, Jolt Counter for effect negation in the battle phase, and they can actually have decent field presence with the right hands, usually like 2 rank 4s. But the weaknesses is where it really gets tricky. So the fire attribute is not well supported. They have limited options for recovery, mainly just Nova Kaiser and Switch Hitter. And there's no in-archetype negation cards in monster form. The only one they have is like Jolt Counter. And then, of course, their focus is on the battle phase, so there's nothing really in the main phase to stop your opponent. And then they can be weak to spell trap effects. And then there's no in-archetype back row removal or no immunity either. So if your opponent has something like Lightning Storm, or even in the battle phase, something like a Mirror Force, if you don't have Lead Yoke on the field, you're going to lose your monster. So that's definitely a problem. They're very reliant on normal summon. There's not very many ways to special summon the main deck monsters. And they also don't have an in-archetype card that gives you an extra normal summon. So the deck can be kind of slow at times. And then while the Xyz monsters are good, there's only 3 rank 4s. They need more extra deck monsters to help push for game. I mean, the Xyz monsters they have are good, but they just need more. Okay, now that we have seen the archetype's strengths and weaknesses, we're also going to see what they actually need. Okay, so they have a general gimmick to dominate the battle phase, and they also use Xyz material in unique ways. Case in point, with the picture I have as number 79 Battlin Boxer Nova Kaiser. It doesn't detach material for its effect, but instead, when it gets destroyed, it revives Battlin Boxer monsters equal to the number of Xyz materials it had when it was destroyed. And then Lead Yoke also uses it in a unique way. So, yeah, they use unique ways to utilize Xyz material, and so overall, I think this archetype needs searching for consistency, spell and trap protection, more ways to special summon, and more ways to summon main deck monsters, protection for your Xyz monsters, because Xyz monsters is the whole point, and then more Xyz monsters to go into that are easy to get. Then also some more recovery plays, because if you do have an Xyz monster and it gets destroyed, it can be kind of difficult for this deck to get another one on the board the next turn. I also think that it needs draw power. Every aggressive deck needs either draw power, searching, or both. So the overall goal is to make Battlin Boxers more aggressive, and so I think draw power will really help that. Then also some forms of interruption, because a lot of times, especially, again, mentioning Lead Yoke and Nova Kaiser, you're relying on your opponent to destroy them, or to attempt to destroy them, to get their effects. So I think just some interruption, being able to do more on its own rather than relying on the opponent, is what this deck needs. Okay, so the first card we're going to review is a main deck monster. Battlin Boxer Quick Jab is a level 4 fire warrior with 1600 attack, 400 defense, and its effect reads: when this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one Battlin Boxer monster from your hand, except another copy of itself. A Battlin Boxer Xyz monster that was summoned using this card's material gains the following effect: when it's Xyz summoned, you can add one Battlin Boxer monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Battlin Boxer Quick Jab once per turn. Okay, so for this one, I basically noticed that one of the best cards in the archetype, Battlin Boxer Switch Hitter, revives one from the graveyard, but they don't have a monster that special summons a Battlin Boxer from the hand. So I decided to make this one basically as a Goblinberg-esque card, and then again, just wanting to bolster the Xyz allowing you to search any Battlin Boxer you want for either an extender or maybe something like Counterpunch to use for attack or defense. I just think that this card is going to be a definite 3 of, so I think this one's pretty good. Okay, so the second card is another main deck monster. It's Battlin Boxer 1-2. It's a level 4 Fire Warrior with 1300 attack, 200 defense. And so this card's effect reads, once per turn, if you control another Battlin Boxer monster with a different name than this card, you can draw 1 card. So again, just draw power, trying to get into either extenders or cards to use for protection. Just, try to make it more aggressive. And then its second effect is a Battlin Boxer Xyz monster summoned using this card's material gains the following effect. When it's Xyz summoned, you can add 1 spell or trap that lists Battlin Boxer in its text from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect of Battlin Boxer 1-2 once per turn. So this card's effect, it actually stays really true to the name. That's why I named it this way, because it's a 1-2 punch. You get 1 card from drawing and then 1 card from searching. So this is obviously the best target that you want to hit with Quick Jab's effect to summon onto the field for free. And then you can just draw a card, go into an Xyz, and get 2 searches. So this actually is a lot like the Lightning Overdrive Utopia support, but even though it is very similar, I really think it's what the deck needs just to provide consistency, and allowing this to add from deck or graveyard to the hand allows you to get some of the spells and traps, something like Jolt Counter or something that you've already used, so then you can just keep recycling those materials, so then you can run them at lower numbers, so you can either search them and then get them back later. So then your hand isn't just going to be clogged up with all these spells and traps. Okay, the first Xyz monster is Battlin Boxer All Out Uppercut, a rank 4 with 2400 attack, 2000 defense. It takes 2 level 4 Battlin Boxers. When this card battles an opponent's monster, during damage calculation, you can detach 1 material from this card. This card gains attack equal to the total ranks of all Battlin Boxer Xyz monsters you control times 200 until the end phase. When this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 Battlin Boxer monsters from your deck in defense position, but their effects are negated. You can only use each effect of Battlin Boxer All Out Uppercut once per turn. So this is meant to be like a big beater to help push for game and to get over problematic monsters. So even if this is the only Xyz monster on the field, with its effect, it'll get boosted by 800, bringing it to a total of 3200 attack. And then, of course, if you have more Xyz monsters, and even some of the higher rank Xyz monsters, like number C105, and then the card we're going to cover next, it can get to pretty good high amount of attack. So, yeah, this basically is just a big beater, and then if it gets destroyed, it just gives you more resources to do for Xyz plays the next turn, just to add to more recovery and consistency. So, yeah, I think this card's pretty good, but the next one is probably going to be even crazier. Wink, wink. And this is the card that started it all. This is the first one that I invented in order to even want to do this video in the first place. This is Battlin Boxer Nebula Impact, a rank 5 Fire Warrior with 3000 attack and 1700 defense. It takes 2 level 5 Fire monsters. It says you can also Xyz summon this card using a rank 4 Battlin Boxer Xyz monster you control as material and transfer the materials to this card. If this card destroys an opponent's monster that was special summoned from the extra deck by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can attach that monster to this card from the graveyard as an Xyz material. If you do, this card can make a second attack in a row. If a Battlin Boxer Xyz monster you control is targeted by a card effect, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card to negate that effect. When this card leaves the field, you can place 1 normal spell from your deck on the top of your deck. You can only use each effect of a card with this card's name once per turn, and you can only control 1. So yeah, a lot to unpack here. So basically, if this destroys an extra deck monster and sends it to the graveyard, you can attach it for more fuel, so then you can have negates for more and more turns. I do understand that with the continuous spell, it prevents them from being targeted, but you're not always going to have it, and spell and trap removal does exist, so that's why that effect is there. And then when it's destroyed, you get to stack Rank Up Magic the 7th one on the top of your deck. So that way you can immediately go into number C105 Battlin Boxer Comet Cestus. So yeah, I think this one's really good. It can push for big damage with 2 attacks, getting rid of opponent's extra deck monsters by attaching it as material, so then they can't revive it from the graveyard. And then, of course, the recovery play of getting the 7th one. So yeah, I think this is a really good card. I really enjoyed making this one. The next card is what I think most older decks need in order to become better, is a field spell. So this is Battlin Boxer Ring Blazing Octagon. It says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. When it's activated, you can reveal one Battlin Boxer monster in your hand and add a different Battlin Boxer monster with the same level from your deck to your hand. And then when your Battlin Boxer Xyz monster attacks, it's unaffected by your opponent's spell and trap effects until the end of the damage step. So again, going back to the weaknesses, things like battle traps and just cards that they would try to activate during the battle phase, now your Xyz monsters are going to be immune to them, and then this also allows for a search. So if you open with, say, I don't know, like let's just say 1-2, right? You just have 1-2 in your hand and then a few other cards, but you don't have Quick Jab. You can activate this, reveal 1-2, add Quick Jab, normal summon Quick Jab, special summon 1-2, and then Xyz summon, and then get 2 searches after drawing a card with 1-2's other effect. So you would basically be getting 3 cards that turn. And then also, even with that, if you just open Quick Jab 1-2, but not this card, you can add this with 1-2's effect. So, yeah, I think that this card would actually be something that the deck would really benefit from. So, there is another spell card that we're going to talk about here in just a minute, but I feel like this is definitely one of the better cards. This would also be a 3-of. The next card is a continuous spell, Battlin Boxer Stamina. It says your opponent cannot target Battlin Boxer Xyz monsters you control with card effects. So again, this is just to protect your Xyz monsters so you can actually keep them on the board. And then once per turn, you can activate the following effect. During your main phase, you can normal summon one Battlin Boxer monster in addition to your normal summoner set. During the end phase of the turn this effect was activated, if the monster summoned by this card's effect was not used as material for an Xyz summon, you take damage equal to that monster's original attack. You can only control one Battlin Boxer Stamina. So this is just to serve as extenders, especially because most of the Battlin Boxer's effects activate on normal summon. This card gives you an extra normal summon. I think it's something that the deck could really benefit from. Personally, I would probably, just kind of theory crafting in my head, I'd probably run this at 2. Just because you can either search it with 1-2 or even get it back from your graveyard with 1-2's effect when it's used for an Xyz summon. So yeah, I'd run this at 2, and I think it's a pretty good card. The final spell card that I made to support this archetype is Battlin Boxer Ferocity. It's a normal spell, and this card is actually kind of broken, but I made it that way on purpose. So its effect reads, draw cards equal to the number of Xyz materials attached to Battlin Boxer Xyz monsters you control. If you do, you must reveal one Battlin Boxer monster in your hand. If you cannot, shuffle cards from your hand into the deck equal to the number of cards you drew with this effect. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, and if you do, draw cards equal to the number of Battlin Boxer Xyz monsters you control that have Xyz material +1. You can only use one Battlin Boxer Ferocity effect per turn, and only once that turn. So, basically, this just keeps on with the whole gimmick of using Xyz materials in different ways. So now you're getting to draw cards based on how many Xyz materials are attached to your monsters. And then, with the second effect, you're just able to draw cards based on how many Xyz monsters you have with materials. So, again, the whole goal of this new support is to make the deck more aggressive, and so I think this draw power really helps with that. You're able to get extenders, cards to use for later. You can even draw into things like the field spell and the continuous spell that we already covered, in addition to some of the trap cards that we're actually going to review next. So I think this card is actually really, really good. And it's, like, it can't really be abused because it's locked into Battlin Boxer specifically. I made that restriction for a lot of these cards on purpose because I wouldn't want them to be abused, because I absolutely hate when that happens. So, yeah, so this card is really, really good, and hopefully, I mean, hopefully it's not too broken, but I think it's just broken enough to really bring the deck to the next level. Okay, this card is Battlin Boxer Revenge. It is a trap card. And if you notice on the artwork, it's actually number 79, Battlin Boxer Nova Kaiser in high contrast mode, and I actually just took that and put laser eyes on it, but there's actually kind of a reason that the artwork is the way it is. So it says, when a Battlin Boxer exceeds monsters you control is destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or effect and sends it to the graveyard, target one of those destroyed Xyz monsters. During your next standby phase, special summon the targeted monster from your graveyard. Then, you can attach cards your opponent controls to it equal to the number of Xyz materials the destroyed monster had when it was destroyed. You can only activate one Battlin Boxer Revenge per turn. Okay, so basically, this is kind of like the opposite of number 79's effect, because number 79 special summons back monsters to be used as Xyz material. But what this card does is instead will special summon the destroyed Xyz monster back and then attach your opponent's cards to it, providing both interruption and recovery in one card. So I feel like this is a really good card. The deck could really benefit from this, especially if you did happen to use it with number 79, because then you could get your number 79 back, get cards from your opponent's field attached to it, but then you would also get number 79's effect to special summon back the Xyz materials. So then you could go into another Xyz monster. And then, again, the reason I have it during the standby phase is so then its resolution can't really be stopped. So then, like, with like a solemn or something like that, they can't stop it because that's just the resolution of the effect, because the effect would have already activated during the previous turn's battle phase. So that's kind of why I have it that way. But I think this is a really good card and one the deck could really benefit from. I'd probably run this at 1, just because, again, it is searchable and recoverable. I mean, there are cards like the draw spell that are a 3 of, and then like the continuous spell that's a 2 of, field spells a 3 of, and both monsters are 3 ofs. But for the traps, just kind of as a whole, I would run them at lower numbers, but I definitely put this one as a 1 of. Okay, the next trap card is Battlin Boxer Reversal. When your opponent declares a direct attack, negate the attack. Then, you can special summon 2 or 3 Battlin Boxer monsters with different names from your graveyard. If you do that, immediately after this effect resolves, Xyz summon 1 Battlin Boxer Xyz monsters from your extra deck, using the monsters summoned by this effect as material. The monster Xyz summoned by this card's effect has his attack doubled and cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can only activate 1 of this card per turn. So basically, it is exactly as the name suggests. It's a complete reversal. You have no monster, you activate this, you get 2 or 3 level 4 Battlin Boxer monsters, then you can immediately Xyz summon one of your rank 4s with double the attack and card effect immunity. So you can use this. Honestly, probably one of the best ones to use with this would probably be number 105, just because then if they did happen to get something with higher attack than 5,000, then you could use its effect to make sure it's not destroyed by battle and your opponent would take the battle damage. So that's probably what this would be. And so, yeah, I mean, again, if your opponent is able to out all the Xyz monsters you have, even with all the new support, this card can help save you. So, again, I would just run this at 1. And so, yeah, that's it for this card. And the final card we're going to invent for Battlin Boxer support, try to fix the archetype, is Battlin Boxer Stance Change. It is again another trap card. When your opponent declares an attack on an attack position Battlin Boxer monster you control, target that monster you control. Change its battle position, and if you do, it can't be destroyed by a battle this turn. If you target an Xyz monster with this effect, this card's activation and effect cannot be negated, and then you can only activate one per turn. So the other two trap cards, Revenge, in order to activate an Xyz monster, has to be destroyed. For Reversal, you have to have no monsters on your field, but this one focuses on making sure your Xyz monsters can't get destroyed by battle at all. And now, I know ones like number 105, Star Cestus, and Leadioak have effects that do that, but what about a card like, say, Chaos Ancient Gear Giant that makes it to where your opponent's monsters can't activate their effects during the battle phase? So basically, this is kind of like a contingency for that, or even something with like Nova Kaiser, or even C105, or one of the Xyz monsters we covered previously. This just makes it to where they don't have to be destroyed if you don't want them to be, so then you don't have to try to have any recovery there. So I would run this at either 1 or 2, depending on just deck space and with testing and everything, assuming these would actually be made, of course. That's probably not going to happen, but just as a disclaimer, Konami, if you're listening, you are free to take these ideas. Please take them and use them. And on that note, like if someone else wants to play with these on Dueling Book or something in the custom setting, please do. I will not mind at all if you use these ideas verbatim. Please do. This is just for fun. So please, if you want to play with these on Dueling Book, just do it. Like, it will genuinely bring me joy if you do. But yeah, so that's going to be all for this archetype. I hope that you enjoyed my ideas for custom support. And if you would have a card, what would you do? Or what would you do different for these cards? So just leave that in the comment section below. I know this is going to be a really long video, so if you stayed till the very end, kudos to you. You're awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.